Rebecca Elfast, who does some beautiful pattern work. Rebecca, when did you start creating patterns and why do you love doing patterns?
Well, I guess I have always been making art in one form or the other. My mom says I was born with a pen in my hand, which is kind of true. Uh, but I guess I've always been drawn to patterns. Like growing up, you see them everywhere and on fabrics and on clothes, and I've always been kind of drawn to a good print. And then um, when I realized that I could take my art and kind of make it into a repeat and learned how to, it's this sort of bug that just catches you, and you can't, you can't not see patterns everywhere and get ideas for how you can solve that little puzzle piece. So I guess it's a brain thing. You
Mm-hmm.
kind of want to make your artwork flow and repeat and go on forever, and you can put it on so many interesting products. And yeah, so I guess it's just, yeah, it's a bug and I have it.
I get that because, I don't think I know anybody who started creating with the intention of designing patterns. I do know some who went to college for it and that was like their focus. So that was a little earlier on than most of us that I've met. But I get that bug idea just because you're trying to strategize or figure it out. Let's go back to kind of before that. What kind of work did you do before you started creating patterns that led you here?
I have a degree in architecture, so I studied architecture in school. But quite soon after graduating, I started freelancing. So I do, and I still do, 15 years, I think, later. And I do, well, I do illustration work for many kinds of clients and applications. And somewhere during that time, I guess I just started taking on pattern work as well. So it's been very gradual, but I just enjoy, it's very like joy driven for me. So I always have to have this little part of my work that is for myself, that comes from within, like it's my own and nobody has asked me to do this. So that's mostly what I show on Instagram, for example. I could be showing all my editorial illustration and everything, but I kind of want that to be my little where I share the stuff that comes from me. And I think it's important to kind of have this little compartment that is all yours. And to me, patterns has become that compartment right now, I guess.
I feel that there's so much chatter about Instagram being like so business driven and you've got to post what the kind of work that you want to get, or you want to create posts that are I don't know, call to action, interesting, asking questions, whatever, value. And I really like that you are intentionally making that your space of the kind of work that you like to do, and not really the work that you're sought for in editorial illustration. Is that right?
Well, yes, I do many kinds of illustration, but yeah, basically yes. And it's also, it's there is some sort of strategy to it, because since starting a family, I don't want to take on too much work, because my work is being made in nap time, like when the big girl is at a daycare and the little one sleeps, that's where I work, and I have to be like laser focused. And if I started like promoting myself and asking for work on Instagram, that would be, I guess I'm not looking for that right now, but I am looking for like collaborations and fun opportunities with my patterns. And I'm posting like once a week. I'm doing the Spoonflower challenge because that's a good way to kind of keep that muscle working and keeping yourself accountable. And it's fun, and they give these fun prompts, and you have them like cooking in your head for a couple of days, and then so that's kind of a good pace for me right now, posting like once a week. And
Yeah.
and it's
Well,
coming from like within, instead of just look at this stuff that I made.
mhm. I think a
Yeah.
lot of us can relate to having a family and juggling.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not I'm not here to ask you about any secrets, but like, how do you do it? But what has been helpful for you? Like, I think that we also need to remember, how has your family life like influenced your work? Maybe you, like, I've heard people say they work faster, or they picked up a different medium, or they got more playful with their work. Has being a mom changed the way that you work?
Yes, all of those three things you just said are true for me. I started even before when we like started talking about having a family, I kind of revamped my whole process to kind of fit into that sort of thing. So I got an iPad Pro, and from there I went all digital. I'm hoping to do more physical media because I love watercolor mainly is my thing, and I'm trying to do less fiddling about and not kind of creating a tree structure where you kind of go out on that branch and then on that. No, that's not good. I'm trying to kind of get into a flow state and get from A to B and embrace like the imperfections, because that's what kind of makes it show that the human hand has actually been there. Even though you're working digital, you can still infuse like a lot of warmth and imperfections, and that's like a good thing.
And I would say that when I look at your work, like the things that I notice are, for one, they're very complex patterns, I think, like intricate. You have a lot of details in there, which surprises me to hear. Like, you're really working within a limited amount of time, but I'm imagining that you're working in small chunks on the same piece and not just pumping it out quickly.
And there's a lot of work going on. I mean, I have like 100 tabs open in my brain at all times, so I'm doing some of the work while just going about my everyday life, and I'm trying to like actually actively thinking about what the next step will be when I get to sit down the next time. So so I guess there's a whole backstage thing going on that I almost don't think about. So that's, and then this kind of stolen moment appears and I'm ready to go.
I can totally relate to that. I do think that becoming a mom, or just really being crunched for time, makes you kind of have something working in the background. And then when it's go time, like, you know exactly what to do. But even, this sounds like a fantasy right now, but if I gave you like a full day to do whatever you want, like, it's harder to know what to do, right? At least that's my experience.
But there's a principle. This is, I don't know what it's called, but I usually call it like the handbag principle, where you have a handbag and it's this size and you kind of fill it up with lipsticks and receipts and whatever. And it's like, oh, I need to get a bigger handbag. But then you kind of fill that up as well. So it's like if you're given more time to complete a project, you will start with the fiddling and the branches and the doubt. And I want my work to be very joy driven and forward and spontaneous. So it's almost, I can't say that it's a good thing, because sometimes it's really hard. But sometimes it is a good thing to have that constraint as well, because you get more clarity. Where do I need to go? How do I get there? Like in the most efficient and fun way. So
yeah, that's totally true. You were talking about going back to your style, right? Just right now, you said you want your work to be very joy driven, and spontaneous. I'd say it's also, I really like your color palettes, because they're bright but not vivid. Like, they're not super saturated colors typically, yet there's still like this underlying joy to them. Like, they're happy colors. How else would you describe your style?
I think you pretty much nailed it, but I'm a secret like color freak. So I always start out making like a pattern or a color palette more crazy than I end up with. I have to kind of pull down the volume a little bit when I make the finishing touches, because the way I work, it's very, I mean, I'm explosive with my colors. And then I kind of, okay, but will this work in a room? So with a pattern, you kind of have to imagine it on a surface. Like if you're doing like wallpaper, would this work? And sometimes, of course, it will. Yeah, but my style, to answer your question, instead of like branching out, I would say joy has a big part of it. I want it to I want people to kind of see my joy creating it, and I want to share that joy to others when they see my work. And I also big stickler for strong shapes. So I always start with strong shapes. I almost always start my work doing silhouettes, like I get the shapes right and looking at the positive and negative spaces. And that's very important in a pattern because you want it to kind of fit together with like puzzle pieces. So it's so I start with the shapes. So I would say shape driven, I guess. And then I can't not say eclectic because I like to try things out, and I hope that it shows I'm the one behind the work anyways, but I do try a lot of different things, and I want it to be like that. So I've never tried to narrow down my signature style doing one thing for the foreseeable future. That would just not vibe well with who I am and who I want to be artistically.
Yeah, I think we need to hear that because especially, I mean, I would say especially early on, but even now, you can have the temptation of sitting down at your art desk and thinking, I want to make something that's so me, whatever that is,
Yeah.
whatever is your style and some sort of like defining thing. But if you're someone who loves variety, like that's just
Yeah.
not going to happen in one piece or in one
Uh,
pattern even.
no.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, but you hear that all the time. I mean, people are saying that one style will get you further, but that's not my experience at all. I mean, I think, and also I think your style kind of lives within you, like the medium you use and how you kind of apply your inspirations and your unique experience onto the project at hand, and that medium you're using. It's like that's your style, and that's constantly like evolving, and it's hard to kind of pinpoint like, okay, this, but obviously people have great success with doing one thing as well. And if that's like their thing, you can explore a very small niche like in infinite ways as well. So I guess whatever works best for you.
Yeah. So what project are you most excited about right now?
As we are recording this is still under wraps, but I have been selected to do the whole Christmas campaign for the Swedish Post Office, and that is Christmas cards,
Wow.
stamps, and gift bags and everything. So all the Christmas cards in Sweden will have my artwork on them this year, which is insane. And I'm already starting to look forward to Christmas more than ever this year because of that. So that's a big project that I have been working on for the most part of this spring, I would say. So I have had Christmas for a large part of this year.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I hope, yeah, I think by the time this is out, we'll be able to just actually show what that looks like, which is so
Yeah.
exciting. That is
I
so
know.
cool.
I'm very excited
Congratulations.
about it. Thank you. It's a dream project of mine ever since I started with illustration work. I've been wanting to do stamps because it's just such a nice project. You kind of get to embellish. I think physical mail is a great thing in itself. It's a beautiful thing, and it's so fun to be able to make that thing even more beautiful with putting your art on it. And
Yeah. I mean, when you see all the stamps at the post office, it feels like a very personal choice. Which one am I going to choose for the family Christmas card?
Yeah.
It's like, Well, I don't know. So that's such an honor. Congratulations.
Thank
And if
you.
people want to see your work, they should follow you on Instagram. Can you tell us your handles and where to find you?
My handle is Rebel Form Illustration, and my website is rebelform.se, since I have a Swedish domain. But I think that that's in the bio link. So if you want to check me out, like on Spoonflower or wherever, you can just go to the link in the bio, and everything of interest will be there. Yeah.
I'm sure we will check you out.
I also have this freebie I wanted to tell you about. If you're
Oh,
interested in getting digital work to kind of feel handmade, because that's what I've been doing for like the past 5.5 years. So I have a PDF mini ebook that's also in the bio link. So you can follow my process a little bit more hands-on through this PDF.
try your hand at this style with a very lesson targeted to do so. Explore this one and so many others in Watercolor Bold. Try it out for free and learn as much as you can. Thanks for your time, Rebecca. This was so fun. And I hope
Thank
that
you.
a lot of people see your beautiful work. And, I know they will, at least in Sweden over Christmas. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, that's one thing. It's been so fun talking to you.